Olá, bom dia, alegria, Munson here with the Good Morning Portugal show, the live stream, the podcast, and the Portugal Club, and an intro normally like
In
this.
Portugal, there's a YouTube show full of fun facts you need to know.
Hey, let's do that again, shall we? Olá, bom dia, alegria, Munson here with the Good Morning Portugal show, the live stream, the podcast, and the Portugal Club, where we shall return to the Portugal Essentials. Now, quite honestly, I can't remember if we did the what's it, the Chav Movel Digital, the CMD or not. So we'll start there again. Portuguese bank accounts tomorrow, and we'll be making our way through those 100 Portuguese essentials. Do let me know what you think you should be in that list. Of course, the NIF, the NIS, and the SNS number are already done, and we will be going towards Portuguese bank accounts tomorrow with my top tip. It's not the brand, it's the branch that matters here in Portugal when it comes to choosing a bank. But a little bit about the Chave Movel Digital, the chilling digital ID that is available here in Portugal for your own safety, protection, and ease and convenience in life. That's how these things are always sold, right? But I think it can help. I think it can. Well, all of these things are innocent in their own right, but can be bad in the wrong hands, or if there's an agenda of some sort to use them negatively. But you would think it could have its advantages. Let's find out. That's the most important thing, actually, is your experience of the of any of these things, and tips for how other gumpers might get access to them more easily, whether they need them or not. Your experience here in Portugal, you can't do much without a NIF number, can you? Let's face it, which is which is the beginning of the surveillance, financial surveillance, you might say. Anyway, we'll come back to that. Happy Year of the Fire Horse. How might you be using the energy? What energy? Auspicious. Kongi Fachoi. It is an auspicious year. Well, it's an auspicious time of the year, the Chinese New Year, and it's a special one this year. It is the Year of the Fire Horse. Now, lots to say on this. I'll do a little bit of an intro to the Year of the Fire Horse. Yes, I was once married to a Chinese fire horse lady, and I have a great deal of respect for her, and affection for her to this day. Quite extraordinary archetype, power, energy. Let me tell you a bit more about it this morning. The Year of the Fire Horse in the Chinese zodiac, starting today, February the 17th, 2026, and running until early 2027, carries profound spiritual significance rooted in Chinese astrology, elemental theory, and broader metaphysical interpretations. You see, we're starting with the cosmos and then working our way backwards to life here in Portugal this morning. Oh, and it's also a period of eclipses, according to the astronomers. Now, to me, whether you're skeptical or so open-minded that things just come in and fall out at the same time, I think I would put myself more at that end of the spectrum. Oh, yeah, starting with the Ring of Fire eclipse today. Not many people like to start the day with a ring of fire, it has to be said, Matty. Anyway, where was I? Yes, Cosmos, starting with the Cosmos and zooming back into Portugal. Take a look at the weather. We've got Mel joining us at 8:30 to get very specific and carry on our research into preparation, hoping for the best, preparing for the worst, which more and more people seem to be suggesting we might do at this time. And there might be a fire horse connection to that at this auspicious time. But I wonder, does this have any resonance for you? And yeah, if the astronomers are saying it on one scientific, prosaic level, and the spiritually folks and the Chinese are saying it on another, it kind of lends weight, does it not, to a general sense that there might be some substance to this cosmic phenomenon that we are taking a look at right now. So, elemental theory, Chinese astrology, and broader metaphysical interpretations. That is the Year of the Fire Horse, which begins today. This combination occurs it's auspicious because it's only once every 60 years. The last one was in 1966, making it a rare, intensified cycle of energy. And I always think it's very interesting, living with an astrologer, what was happening in the world the last time this particular force was in effect or evident or making its presence felt on humanity. In Chinese tradition, just with the horse in its own right, the freedom, independence, swift movement, ambition, vitality, and forward momentum qualities are, of course, associated with the horse. And they can give you a little nip on the inside of your arm, is my experience of horses, which really hurts. I'm not entirely comfortable with horses, and I'm not generally very allergic to animals, but I know that if I spend too much time with horses, it makes my eyes itchy. I used to go horse riding as a kid, actually. Now, when you bring fire, the element of fire, specifically yang fire, isn't all fire yang? I guess maybe it isn't. Maybe the cooler embers, the glowing embers that keep the fire's potential, or maybe the yin parts. What was that? Where was that message coming from? Oh, that's a school chat. That's somebody. Did you hear that sound? That's somebody. Oh, okay. I sent a message to somebody. School's got a really good system for seeing who's trying to spam you in its back office. And a member who tried to sign up this morning has a very high spam risk score. And I said, my first message to them was, "You have a high spam risk. Why is that?" And Bahamas David, you should know straight away, shouldn't you, from the name Bahamas David, who I don't think is even in the Bahamas, says, "How do you mean, sir?" I'm going to click the block user button and say no more about it this morning. But well done, school, on that bit of tech behind the scenes there to stop your school community getting jammed up and getting demotivated with a load of spammers. But anyway, back to the fire horse energy. The fire element, specifically yang fire, amplifies the horse traits, the equine traits dramatically, adding layers of passion, transformation, illumination, courage, and intensity. Together, the fire horse represents potent yang energy. Now, we like a bit of that first thing in the morning sometimes, don't we? And what's more, it will bring a bold, outward directed, unrestrained, and dynamic atmosphere or qualities to the proceedings for the next year. And of course, like anything, like the digital ID, it can be used for good or ill, I suspect, as well. Spiritually, it embodies the call to awaken inner fire. So if you've been waiting to awaken your inner fire, I know Gumpers have always got a little bit of a pilot light burning, sometimes igniting into a full-blown blaze of passion and excitement about life. Other times just glowing gently like a landmark on the horizon, small and perfectly formed. Pursue authentic self-expression is the invitation, and embrace rapid personal and collective evolution. Oh my God, can we manage any more of that right now? It often signals a time of breakthroughs where hesitation or inauthenticity is burned away. Yikes, ouch, forcing alignment with one's true path. So if you're not on your true path, nature might be giving you some big clues and pushes to get back into your authenticity. Wow. Or curing you of your hesitation. Key spiritual themes include igniting passion and purposeful action, cultivating courage, self-mastery, and discernment. All of these great things at any time, right? Transformation and liberation, and momentum towards freedom and higher purpose. Hurrah! These sound excellent. Historically and spiritually, fire horse years like 1966 coincided with intense upheaval, rebellion, innovation, and progress. Yay, 2026. It's only February. Let's go. Vamos embora. Reflecting how this energy can spark both destruction of the old and creation of the new when harnessed well. Well, I never. There would appear to be that sort of atmosphere in the air already. Destruction of the old and creation of the new. And let's harness it well, shall we? Overall, then, finally, the spiritual essence of the year of the fire horse is a powerful summons to gallop toward authenticity. Embrace your untamed spirit. Lead. I feel like I should be standing on the desk like in Dead Poets Society. So gallop toward authenticity. Embrace your untamed spirit. Lead from inner alignment rather than performance. and transform passion into directed, meaningful momentum. It's not subtle. It rewards courage and punishes playing small, offering a profound opportunity for growth if met with centered awareness. How about that? And next, the shove mobile digital, the digital mobile key. from from the sublime to the mundane and ridiculous. Wow. Okay, how are you doing? Oh yes, public holiday. It's Carnival Day. Have I got that on my calendar? Is there one Carnival Day then? I thought it expressed itself differently around Portugal. But okay, Carnival Day here in Portugal. Should have that in my Portugal club calendar. Thanks, Pete, for that heads up on that. Who's in? Who was in early this morning? 10 to 8. Nice and early. Oh no, 6:57. Young Matty, bom dia, alegria a todos e feliz terça-feira. And I gave him an hola dia. Oh, what did the Portuguese meditator say to the other Portuguese meditator? Olá, dia, of course. Tudo bem, Carl? Muito bem, obrigado, Matty. And bom dia to you, Sarah, as well. Tito, good morning to you. Bon dia, alegria, Gumpers. Bon dia, Gumpers from Mike as well. And Welsh Jackie. How you doing, Jackie? Bob's also here. Bon dia, todos. Thank you for your kind message, Bob. And if you'd like a little preview, nudge, nudge, wink, wink, I can send that to you. It is also a period of eclipses. Yes, okay, thank you for that, Matty, as well. Can you see their IP address? If so, check it at Stop Forum Spam. That's great, isn't it? I don't need to. I've already rejected them. You can watch this live, or if you go to the Portugal Club now, I've already blocked this person, and I'm declining them as a member. Great software from the school team. For those of us in Portugal, please remember that today is a public holiday for Carnival. Thank you very much. Stopforumspam.com is what you need. And I've been running a discussion forum for over 15 years. Stop Forum Spam is a necessary tool. Who doesn't like a necessary tool first thing in the morning? Today is Carnival, but we obviously celebrate it all weekend and today. And actually most of the time, in fact, Pete, to be fair. Bom dia, Portugal from João Ernesto as well. Morning, John. I think you've got the worst of the weather and some of the rain up there in Ponte Lima. That's what's going on, isn't it? Taking a look at the Portugal Weekly today. I must upgrade. I must got to upgrade my membership of Portugal Weekly and Portugal Decoded. It's not fair that I use their resources, but don't reward them. So I will be doing that. Paying for. I mean, they give great value, both Decoded and Jorge Branco at Portugal Weekly. But I do want to upgrade my Substack subscriptions to a higher level from free to premium with both of these great news sources. And I think it's really important. A little bit of skin in the game when I say this, but it's really important, I think, to support independent content creators who are doing something against the odds, basically, and against or in the midst of the vast resources that the big media companies still have, despite their dwindling hold on public attention. Seems like it's important in this age to support the independent creator who makes their living from sharing their content and creativity online, as I do, and I thank you all. Yes, I went through an extensive list yesterday of those who I thank, and I thank you all, anyone who supports the Good Morning Portugal show in any way. I'm very grateful to you. Over at Portugal Weekly, then, where you can upgrade to paid at Substack, georgebranco.substack.com. Storms pass, but widespread damage remains. Let's have a quick look at this and see if we can get. Morning, Helen. Good to see you here again this morning as well. Nice to see you making yourself at home. And yeah, thank you for your messages. I've actually, given that you are a supporting member over at the Portugal Club, where you are a member as well now, by dint of that support, I've also opened up a few of the classroom areas to you this very morning. Actually, we'll look at one of them in just a moment. Portugal Essentials. Take a look behind the scenes and you'll see that most of that is accessible to you now. Where was I? Yes, let's bring that onto the screen then. Storms pass, but widespread damage remains. And actually, do you know, I saw some sort of forecast or prediction that everything was going to be back to normal within a few weeks, maybe a month. For some people, it's not going to be as quick as that. I mean, some people are going to have to rebuild their homes. Their homes have been rendered uninhabitable through subsidence and landslides. So maybe most of the country in a few weeks will be back on its feet. And there are signs of that already. But for some people, we have to remember, as happens with the fires, their lives have been devastated and they may still need help and support and consideration. Storms pass, but widespread damage remains. Worst of the weather has passed and the disaster situation has been lifted after back-to-back storms claimed 16 lives, a total death toll here in Portugal. Injured many more, caused thousands of evacuations and cut off Portugal's primary highway and railway, Expresso reports. But problems remain across the country, from a village isolated and thousands still without power or phone networks. We're talking about nearly 3 weeks now, aren't we? And this is why, of course, it's important to have the conversation we're having at past on the hoping for the best and loving and living our lives in Portugal, but also preparing for the worst as well, as we saw in these last 3 weeks with technology, with your mental state, etc. Talk more about that with Mel at 8:30. Regional and national roads remain cut on Monday in many places, notably Ruda dos Vinhos, Alenquer, Leiria, Alcácer de Sal, Coimbra, Montemoro Velho, and Setá. Work had begun to fix the north lanes of the A1 where it collapsed into the water near Cascais, west of Coimbra, after a dike burst, but was expected to take up to 3 weeks repairing that A1 there. And then you can see on your screen an extraordinary image of that. I wonder if I play that, does that work? You can see how the road collapsed, the A1, the main spinal roadway. Oh, you're not seeing that. I'm watching it myself on Instagram there. But yeah, pretty shocking view. Coming back to, if you click on that, on George Branco's reporting there, you'll be able to see that for yourself. There's the link to his Substack going into the chat now. Roads, trains, power, phones, schools, and etc. are all part of his coverage there. And yes, you can continue reading if you upgrade there. Beaches, for example, just the highlights here. Guincho now has a cliff in the middle of the sand. Mira lost 7 meters of beach in 5 days. Mira in the Aveiro district, or is that North Coimbra district? But certainly on the Atlantic coast between Coimbra and Aveiro. Even with some natural recovery, experts fear many beaches from the north to the south of the country will still be unrecognizable by summer. So some returning to Portugal for the summer, Portuguese people and holiday makers, if they're coming back to their favorite places, those beaches may have changed. The landscape may have shifted. And toll payments, or the payments that you would ordinarily make on the toll roads, have been suspended still on parts of the A8, A17, A14. The A17, of course, I think is the alternative route around the A1, so it's only right that the government suspended payment on that. The A14, A19 highways. Hold on a minute. Payment suspended on parts of those was reimposed on Monday. Okay, so that was only during the state of calamity, and you can't use the A1. But it looks like you're being forced to use a toll road, you're not being forced to, but if you do want to get out and about, the A17 is an alternative. But it looks like the toll charges are back in force. So that's a bit tight, isn't it? Portuguese government. Segura wins in remaining councils and Ventura wins abroad. I asked the question for my column this week for the Portugal Resident. Why is it that the Portuguese diaspora are in favour, generally speaking, of André Ventura and voted for him in a way that people at home didn't? And reminds me of why it is that some people who are pro-Brexit have left the UK, which is very hard to understand from their fiercest critics. But I've scratched the surface of that and had a little look and gone beyond the usual knee-jerk blah reaction to that, and they're just stupid or whatever. Going a little bit more thoughtful on this. If you do find yourself having a political knee-jerk reaction ever, you might want to take a look at that. That's a slippery. Let me tell you, that's the beginning of a slippery slope where the finger pointing can sometimes revert, or develop into something a little more lethal than a wagging finger or something being pointed at other people. That's what I write about in the Resident today. Thanks, Pete, for that carnival heads up. Definitely. Bom dia, Portugal from João Ernesto. Bom dia a todos e feliz terça. Enjoy Carnival, Pete. And I'm sure that invitation is to everybody. Would be lovely to see everyone enjoying themselves after all the grief of the last few weeks. Stay safe and healthy. Well, cheers, Coach. Thank you for that. And yeah, I think the more carnivals seem to be occurring, or more carnival celebrations seem to be occurring in the south. Lulay Carnival. I'll be talking to Daisy Sampson tomorrow for the Portugal resident interview, the big weekly interview, news review on a Friday. And on a Wednesday, we publish a big interview with a notable in Portugal, often from the south of the country where the resident is based. And Daisy Sampson, once editor of the Portugal News, now the CEO of AFPOP. Looking forward to talking to her tomorrow. And she will have been, we couldn't talk today because she's going to Carnival in the Algarve today. So anyone who's heading out to celebration in the Algarve, notably, more difficult the further north you go in the wake of the devastation. Have a great time. Let me add my my invitation of great fun and mirth and merriment at Carnival today across the country. Well, Carl has a video of some pictures of the fest. Oh, yes, we certainly enjoyed saying goodbye to the winter by burning the king and queen. That sounds a bit drastic, doesn't it? Yes, thanks for that reminder, Pete. Where are those? In the year of the... Oh, thanks for that as well, Matty. The Ring of Fire eclipse. Thank you very much for that. Peter, thank you for sending me those. The timing threw me yesterday, and they got buried. Your lovely message got buried. People dressed up as sheep. Let's not show that to Doug. He might get very excited about that. Okay, and a little video. Okay, let's play that video, shall we? I'm just downloading that now. Awesome pics. Thank you, Pete. So I'll play that 30 seconds, I think, of video as well that you've sent me. And yeah, as you say, fabulous pictures there with celebrations in Orca, ORCA, here in Portugal. Also, talking of video, I've got a great video. You know Dave in Portugal, who I really admire Dave's. I've given him a bit of a bit of banter about sometimes the clickbaity videos, but I mean, we've all got to make a living, and we do need to attract attention on YouTube. He's very good at it, and to be fair to Dave, he makes a cracking video. However, his most recent video is not the kind that we've become accustomed to. Dave's in love, and he produced quite an organic video, and it was lovely to see. And I was thinking, where's this going then? And it was going in a kind of announcement that he's in love. Dave's in love, and he's written a song. His latest video includes a song that he's written, and his amour is in the video as well. Pete, I'm having trouble downloading this video. I might have to play it tomorrow, as it turns out. But a lovely video to share and play. Oh no, I've got it now. Let's have some carnival vibes in just a moment, and before we welcome Mel. And we've got the Dave in Portugal video as well. His song that he's written in celebration of his new love. And I've got a feeling Dave's videos are going to be changing soon. You know, he I think probably as a single fella, he had a lot of time to spend making videos. And now he's taking a more organic, quick and dirty approach to his videos, which in his most recent one culminates in a wonderful song that he's written. And I asked him, I said, Dave, can I play your wonderful song? It's brilliant. Can I play it on my show? He said, yeah, of course you can. So we'll play that in just a moment as well. Perhaps after these Carnival vibes. And we've got the Chave Mobile Digital to talk about as well. There's a bit of Carnival action from Orca. Wow. Was everyone invited to dress up as a sheep for this particular event in Orca? Good work there. And you're sounding more and more like Sid James. Every video, it would appear, Pete. Your Sid James cackle there is fantastic. I'm assuming that was you. Excellent stuff. Thank you very much for that. Yeah, and here's a still of some people. I mean, maybe this is what they do every weekend anyway. I don't know if it was it especially for the carnival, or do you guys always dress up as sheep at the weekend in Orca? There you are. Thanks to Patricia. Wow, happy times in central Portugal. Nothing weird about that at all. Okay, cheers, Pete. And maybe we'll stick the rest of the pictures up over at the Portugal Club with your permission there. Thank you very much indeed. Sharing a few things yesterday. Looking forward to getting out and about and the better weather, more socializing. Here's a nice thing in Alcobaça, a fun, casual singing group. Meet Tuesdays between 11 and 12:30 in central Alcobaça to sing in English and Portuguese. How lovely. And there'll be a performance. This will culminate in a performance. The theme, Alcobaça sings about love. This is a lovely connection to Dave's video. All My Loving, Amar pelos dois. That's the Salvador Sobral tune, isn't it? Can't Help Falling in Love with You. Elvis, Can You Feel the Love Tonight? If I fell in love with you, don't know who that's by. Let's do it. Let's fall in love. The classic. Love Changes Everything. That's Amore, one of our favorites at the karaoke. And I was asked last night, when are we doing the next karaoke, Carl, in San Martino de Porto? What a wonderful world, Louis Armstrong. And You Are My Sunshine. Wow, the more common wise. Classic. But not necessarily in that order. All levels welcome. So you don't have to be a great singer. You just need to want to have some fun. It's a casual singing group, and there will be a performance the weekend of April 11th and 12th, 2026. That sounds like a lovely thing to do. And there's that Ring of Fire eclipse, looking a lot like a Lord of the Rings vibe there. February, is that today? So is that what the sky is going to look like today? That is going to frighten the living, you know what, out of everybody. If the sky suddenly, no, that's not happening today, is it? Do let me know in the chat. Very quickly, then, let's have a look at this Chave Mobile Digital. Then we'll play Dave's love song, and then we will talk to Mel, who may or may not be a fire horse. Let's find out about that when she joins us. Let's have a look then. Oh, membership request. That's not where we're meant to be. Portugal Essentials. Are you seeing that on your screen? Yes, you are. This is the classroom. We haven't been here for a while, actually, and we got distracted, didn't we? Quite understandably, by events here in Portugal. Number 4, then, of the 100 Portugal Essentials. We're creating a list. Chave Mobile Digital, the CMD. What is it? The Chave Mobile Digital is Portugal's official digital authentication system, a secure mobile key linked to your phone. Nothing to worry about here. It lets you log into government portals like Segurança Social Direta, Portal das Finanças, SNS 24, 24 e Portugal. Portugal. Sign documents electronically and access public services with a single credential. This is the direction of travel for all the world, everybody, I suspect, and they're testing it out here in Portugal. Why it's important, it's said to be a game changer for expats and residents, speeds up online bureaucracy, avoids in-person visits for many tasks, including your NIS status, booking SNS appointments and filing taxes, and we don't want any hold-ups with that, and is increasingly required for recommended for digital government interactions. It's described as safe. Of course it is. It is free. No breaches here. It is free and is thought to make life in Portugal more efficient. No more endless queues. Yeah, whatever. So best way to get it handled is for citizens, residents with a cartão de cidadão, activate it online at that link there, as you can see, or scan the QR code with your phone app and install that on your phone. Use a CC reader or photo ID process. Oh, how many of you have got credit card readers on your desks, I wonder? Maybe you don't want to say. For foreigners, non-citizens, visit a loja de cidadão or Espaço Cidadão in person. Book via ePortugal or walk-in. You may have one of those queues that they've been talking about here. Bring a passport, residence permit, NIF, Portuguese mobile number, proof of address. They set it up on site, often 5 to 10 minutes. I think we do have friends here in the community who have set that up successfully. Does it help? The hilarious thing about this is whenever I talk to Portuguese people about it, they don't have them. They don't want this. Once activated, digital life in Portugal unlocks, they say. Pair or trio it with your NIF, SNS, and NIS numbers for best results. Potentially, I've put in brackets. And the tip here is get a Portuguese mobile SIM first. It's tied to your phone number. Yeah, you can't do much with this CMD. For some reason, weapons of mass destruction comes to mind, but this is Chauve Mobile Digital, not to WMD. Let me know what you think about that. That is number 4 of the Portugal Essentials in the classroom at the Portugal Club. Let's play that love song from Dave, and then we'll speak to Mel on the other side of that. Thanks, Dave in Portugal. You've probably watched his videos. He makes very good videos, and now he's in love. I don't think he's going to be putting in hours indoors anymore. He's going to be skipping through the clover with his new love, I think, and writing more songs like this cracker that he's created in celebration of his new love.
You love the movies I hate to miss. You talk in circles, I make a list. I fall asleep with the TV on. You overthink it until the sun. Sometimes I can't find the words to say, like we're from different worlds, drifting far away. But your hand always pulls me back your way, 'cause even when we're lost, I love you anyway. Tu dobras a roupa, eu queimo o pão. Depois argumentas, queres discussão. Somos só planetas, é quase colidir. Eu mudo este ciclo, faço-nos sorrir. Sometimes I can't find the words to say, like we're from different worlds that drift and far and far and far away. Your hand always pulls me back away. Even when we're lost, I love you Sometimes I can't find the words to say, 'cause even when we're lost, I love you anyway.
Very, very good. Thank you, Dave in Portugal, for letting me play that. Dave is talented. He always has the guitar in the background, but great to see and hear him play there with a song that he wrote, recorded here in Portugal. And nice to see the Blisses here this morning. Morning, Cheryl and Michael. Dave is too talented. Absolutely. And happy for Dave. Yes, isn't that lovely to see that as well, and how he's sharing that. And his Instagram with his new lady is 2 halves of the same orange, which I suspect is a Portuguese phrase. And there's some Portuguese chucked into that. His grasp of Portuguese is very good. And I'm not talking about his relationship. I'm talking about the language. Let's give her a nice round of applause. Mel, good morning to you. Did you enjoy that?
Good morning. Yes, I did. Oh, I'm all croaky. Sorry. Excuse me.
Too. It's the residue. Damn,
Yeah, and how pretty is his guitar?
Yeah. Very
It's
good.
all
Very good.
engraved and yeah, it's very
Yes,
good.
yes.
I watch Dave's stuff too. It's great.
It's hard not to, isn't it, when you see his face, back in the day, leaving Portugal or Get Out. Those really good attention grabbing thumbnails that he makes. But boy, does he make a good video. The production quality is superb. He knows what he's doing. I think he's got a little bit of experience in that department, as well as being a songwriter.
Yeah, I
And
think I started following when he had like 1,000 or so followers.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
he's doing very
And
well.
And very gracious of him when I sent him, after giving him a little bit of heat about the clickbait from time to time, notably in my column, he saw it in the paper and wrote to me. So we've had an interesting relationship, but we are pals, I would like to think. And as soon as I said to him, I love the song, can I play it? Yeah, go ahead. Fantastic. Good to see you, Mel. It looks like things have returned to a certain kind of calm at yours. I hope that is the case, but still a little bit chilly though.
Well, I've got the red on for the fire horse because yes, I am a fire horse.
All right. I thought it was best you say that. You say that. What does it mean to you? I did give people quite a detailed description of the potential and the qualities that are available to everyone. What does it mean to you?
Well, the first I heard of it, I always knew I was Year of the Horse, and also in the 365 days of the year, I read a thing once many years ago, the Year of High Adventure. It was my specific birthday mantra, the the day of high adventure. Sorry.
Sounds great.
So that is my thing, and there's a lot around rebelliousness, and wanting freedom and not being restrained, and all of those things. And then
That
when I
doesn't
found
sound like
out,
you at all.
but you know what's really ironic about that, and I do want to get on preparedness because I have prepared so much stuff for you today.
Great, thank you.
But what's really interesting for me, and I think it's a message for anybody and everybody, I realized it was the Year of the Horse coming up. I went, this is great. It's also a 1 year for me personally. It's a 1 year for the planet, which is all new beginnings. And then I heard about this fire horse, and they said everything's going to be amplified. And then they said, you know, the last one was 60 years ago. And I went, hey, that's me. And a friend of mine who's like a Taoist, I don't know what the word is, nun, or potentially, I'm not sure what the word is for the female version, said that in Chinese tradition, especially the governments would kill off a lot of the fire horse
I've heard
babies
that.
because
Yeah,
they were
dangerous women. Yeah.
dangerous to the establishment. But what I recognized for me, and what really activated me, and my energy is feeling so good today. I felt like I needed to sage the world yesterday in preparation.
Sage the world. That's a t-shirt, isn't it? Sage the world.
Sage the world.
Right.
Was how far out of my truth I've been living since I've been in Portugal. Well, specifically probably since about 2022, because I've been so constrained. I've been through just circumstances I feel that I can't control, where I've been in one location. I've traveled all of my life. My mum and dad packed up and left. We traveled around Australia since I was 8 years old. I'm a constant moving motion. And the last house I lived in Portugal for 4.5 years was the longest I've lived anywhere in my life. So, and I was just stuck, constrained in this apartment during COVID.
I've heard you speak of this. Yeah, you
and
didn't have
I
the
just,
greatest time there, did you?
no, I had a terrible time. And I just lost all sense of myself. Like I lost all sense of my energy and my, you know, I'm someone who puts in a thought, adds another thought, goes off on a tangent. I can, if there's something I'm passionate about, yes, I will see it through to the end, but I would have added 10 extra things in along the way. And suddenly, and even now, since I've been here, as beautiful as this town is, I've been very reserved and you know, and I'm feeling quite stuck. And so I just went, I think this is my reminder. And if, as you, I think, read out before, you know, this is our time to say, where are we not being true to ourselves, and step into that, and which is exciting. And part of that, as a little segue, part of that is I've always had a passion around preparedness, and what I recognized, and sorry for just keeping on talking, but what I recognized is that I didn't realize how uniquely qualified through life experience I have been for preparedness. You know, I was raised on a farm. We had a massive fire come into the back of our farm when I was a child. I remember being packed up, bundled into the car. It didn't come through the house, but everyone, all hands on deck trying to save the house. I've been through a couple of cyclones. I've multiple floods, Australia, of course, being fire-ridden. And the things that I just assumed, and it really hit me in the apogao last year and this year, was that the amount of people that have no idea, absolutely no idea what to do, and no thought of preparing for it. And I just thought it was normal. I've been lectured on this by my mother since as long as I could remember. And right up to her passing a couple of years ago, she always had a little suitcase beside her bed or in the next room with her emergency stuff in it.
Wow.
You know, and so I just didn't realize. And I went, okay, you know, I'm certainly not qualified in the field, and I'm not suggesting I know all, and I certainly don't know all in Portuguese circumstances, but I think that I've been through more than most, which has required that, and living a very minimalist lifestyle. So, I'd love to talk about it. So it's
Well,
great.
you're my go-to gal for this stuff, as I think you're aware now, and it's thanks to you, in large part, that we have a thread over at the Portugal Club, and you've really helped me actually as well, because I've had a long-standing interest, but not this anything like the same level of experience. I've known I've had to get my act together, and was first thinking about this kind of off-grid thing and alternative energy a long time ago. But it's circumstance, really, isn't it, that gets your ass into gear with this sort of stuff. It is an apagal, or what we've been through in the last 3 weeks, that finally makes you get a Bluetti, a Starlink, and an emergency radio, like the surprise radio. It's tiny.
Okay.
This
And
is
I'm
really
interested to
good.
find out about that because I don't know about that one.
This is
Ooh,
hilarious. I thought it was going to be a whole lot bigger. It's the that's my phone.
same.
That's the radio. It
Yeah,
looked a lot bigger online, but
was it on Temu?
it feels like I've been Teamu'd with this. It does work. It does everything it said it would do. It's just like so tiny, and it was quite hilarious when it came. But I've gone from the urge to be prepared, and to be fair, we did pretty well in the Epigal, and in this time, I was really pleased about how unpanicked our whole family was. I mean, we were shocked. Don't get me wrong, but we'd had some practice, and we'd conditioned ourselves to respond sort of calmly and not to be too thrown by what was happening. So some success, if you can call it that. I mean, it's not something. I guess it's a bad success, isn't it? To say you survived well in terrible times is a strange kind of success. But it is something we have to open our minds to. I think at the moment we were told, weren't we, last year, for some reason before the Apagal, make sure you've got a 72-hour backup kit. Why was that, I wonder? And it's like everyone's in the same way that so many people are conspiracy theorists now. It turns out most people are preppers as well, aren't they? In the way that they used to laugh and point
And
at the
I think
tins and
uh,
beans and tinfoil hats.
I think that there's two definitions of prepping. And what I want to chat with you about, and I've literally got lists, so I'm going to go
Great,
very
excellent.
listified.
Yeah,
But what I'm talking about is emergency prepping as opposed to how to live off grid. And
yeah,
if the apocalypse happens, this could be for the next 6 months or 2 years while
we'll
the
sort
world
that.
is devastated. I'm not talking about that sort of prepping. I'm talking about being prepared for an emergency situation. And I
Yeah,
think this has been a really good highlight for people. Yes, I think 3 days is an absolute minimum essential to be ready for. But also, look at these towns right now. They're still without power and water.
yeah.
So you really need to be ready for more than that. So may I just launch into running through things, and feel free to interject and
Yes,
ask or
please.
discuss.
Yeah, let's go. Let's go. I think there's a lot of
Um,
sympathy for the sentiment for sure, and we'll make these resources and lists, I hope, available on this continued thread over at the Portugal Club. But go ahead, Mel. Yeah,
Sure.
please do.
So first of all, know your neighbours, um, and get to know people. So before anything, know your neighbours. I would also take it as one of the things that uh, I am trying to talk to people about in this small town. If you're in a small town, but even if you're not, even if you're in a bigger city like Caldish or Leyte or something like that, even if it's only within the immigrant communities, my recommendation is to get together in groups, or do a coordinated function to collect, with people's permission, the names, phone numbers, and address of anybody who wants to be checked in on.
Yeah,
And I mean, I say this for me as a single person, and a lot of what I'm going to talk about today would also apply. I've kind of tailored it more to keep in mind that we have to be prepared as women. Now, yes, Louisa has a wonderful man, but he falls over and breaks his leg in the process of some emergency. She needs to be able to carry the things. She needs to be able to do the stuff as well. So we can't just
yeah,
get complacent if you're in a relationship,
sure.
or if you're older, to say, well, I'm going to be fine because he can do that and I can do this. If you don't know how to use your generator, then you need to figure it out, both of you, because
Yeah.
even if one of you isn't indisposed, one of you might have to have grabbed the kids and gone somewhere else,
Yeah.
and something's happened at home or vice versa. So you have to be prepared for that. And so getting big clunky equipment that's mechanically diverse may not be a wise option. But also knowing your neighbours, and having a list, a coordinated list. So I would like to set up here a little group, a volunteer group that says who's willing to volunteer and be on the list if they wish. And so, you literally walk up and down the street, so I would say to you, Carl, can you go and check on Donna Maria, Donna, this is their address, or you volunteer to do that street, or whatever you may work out between you, and you go and knock on the door, and then you come back and say, they're all fine, and we tick them off the list. So
Yeah.
we know there's people left on the list that no one's checked on, and no, we can't raise them at the moment. Does anybody know if they've gone to stay with, Tia or their kids or someone? We need
Yes.
to check where these people are. And
And if
even
they
if
know
they
they're
wish,
being checked in on, they might be telling you that, mightn't they? Oh, somebody might be coming to check on me. I need to let them know that I've gone off to stay with someone else.
and they may not be able to, because in our circumstance, we didn't have phone communication, internet, nothing. So we
Right.
went and manually checked, but you can always put a note on the door saying gone to Lairi or whatever.
Mhm.
And of course, people opt into this system. If they've got plenty of people checking on them, they don't want to do, they don't have to. But this is for people who know that they don't have as much family around,
Yeah.
and we just want to make sure that everybody's accounted for. They can
Yes.
put a note on the door saying, I've gone to my grandma's, or we can say, in collating the list, do you also want to put an emergency contact, so that if we do find that you've fallen onto the floor because the roof's fallen on your head, God forbid, how do we get in contact with somebody? So that's something around knowing the neighbourhood, making sure that you have now, obviously 3 days is a minimum essential, but I would suggest at least a week. I would prefer at least a month of food and water in the house. And, I'm still using bottled water. I don't know the water condition situation here right now, but just to be on the safe side, I'm still using bottled water. And that's bottled water for you and the dogs, and to have a wash in. It's not
Yeah.
just what you can drink. Obviously, washing is a lesser concern, but to have make sure that
Well,
you've
you
got a
realise
stock
how
of.
much water you need, don't you? The first time the water goes off, and to me, that's the worst of the losses.
Yes,
We
we
were
die
really
without it.
lucky. Yeah, it's really hard without water. Electricity is inconvenient, and it gets worse the longer it goes on for. And internet, we lived without it before. We'll live without it again at times. But water's really the tough one, isn't it? And especially if you haven't got any water and you can't heat water, that's the one that I found most challenging when we've come up against that sort of thing.
And buying, which I'll get into more a little bit later, but buying water purification drops or tablets.
Mm,
Because one of the issues that some of the flood zones will be reached, and this is what happened to us in Brisbane, is that all the stormwaters and sewerage started to flood and come up into the water. So when
yeah.
we were cleaning out people's houses, we're wading thigh deep in sewerage mixed with
Ooh,
muddy water. So
right.
suddenly
Okay.
people are getting sick and diseased. And
Yes.
so you need a way to be able to clean yourself. You need to be able to wash your hands as a minimum
Yeah.
with something to kill off that. So
Yes.
obviously
Yes.
antiseptic, having a little bit of antiseptic, that's another thing. Most people have a medicine cabinet with some first
Uh-huh.
aid in it, but you need a little portable one that's practical, because most of the ones you buy at Lidl are not. That's really practical for you in case you cut yourself, do whatever. Have some betadine in there, some antiseptic, alcohol, things like that, alcohol hand wash that you can throw in an emergency bag, and have an emergency bag or whatever ready to go. Like
Your
I've
grab
always
bag.
said,
Yeah.
yeah, grab bag, but it needs to be all of your documents. Like the only proof in Portugal we have of owning our house is our contract, as our deed. You don't take it with you. You've got no proof that
Oh
you
yeah.
own your house.
Yes.
So you need those hard copy documents, and anything essential, a first aid kit. I also have in a little bag, just a little satchel like this, a little travel bag with a couple of sets of fresh underwear and a change of clothes, like
Yeah.
just something. Once again, Yes, because we want to have something nice to change into. But if you do happen to have got caught in sludge or mud in a flood,
Yes.
you know,
Yes.
your clothes are smelly and potentially physically dangerous to be continuing to wear because of the germ
Mhm.
factor.
Yep.
So
Yep.
having a bag like that, having a thing. So and it depends on how much notice that we have. Obviously, an apagao is a different thing. But normally in fire season, we hear that there's a fire in our region. We may be unlucky enough to be the house right next to it, but generally we know that there's a major fire coming. But even before then, I would walk around my house and go, is there anything in this house that's an essential? You know, if I have my mother's ashes on the bench, a photo that's particularly precious to me, yes, I may leave them on the walls, but in this moment, I am going to put them in the car. I'm going to fill up my car with petrol. My car always has spare drinking water, spare water for the car, the petrol. If I know a fire or an emergency is coming, like I would have done in this storm had I been given a bit more notice, I would have filled the car up with petrol, because when the electricity goes down, the petrol tanks go down, the petrol
Yep.
stations go down. So you need to be able to drive somewhere. I have a bicycle. I think it's
Yes.
really essential that someone in the house has a bicycle, because you might not be driving anywhere. In Coimbra, you might want to stand up paddleboard at this point in time as well. But,
Yes.
you know, you need a way to get around out beyond your town to the next town. And also, I would suggest that if you have enough warning, and maybe you don't, but if you're concerned and you have a day's warning, I'd be getting all of those documents, like, for example, now to put in for that support program, because I've got to replace my whole roof. So I'm going to be applying for that government assistance. They
Mhm.
require of me to put in my Certidão Permanente and my Caderneta that's less than 3 months old.
Right.
So now I have them, but they're old, and I can't put in something for assistance without having a recent one. And we're fine here. Panisha's great, but if I was in Leiria, potentially I can't get to the IRN in Leiria right now in the floodwaters to go and ask them for my documents, you know, to be able to get assistance.
So
So
electronic and recent versions are stored electronically, maybe accessible on your phone would be quite a good idea, or a stick.
yeah, and a
Yeah.
photocopy of your passport and your, you know, those sorts of things, because again, you may have your wallet in your pocket, but it may have got left on the bench, or it may get washed away, or
It's
whatever.
good to have those things anyway, I would say, isn't it? Because
Yes,
that's going to save you a lot of time and trouble. Also, you have to have a clean tax record to get some of this help. I saw, which I thought was rather unfair and unkind. Did you see that?
yeah, it
That,
is.
some people aren't
Criminal.
eligible because they're not up to date with their taxes.
You also have to have a clean tax record to renew your residency and apply for
Yes, yes,
citizenship.
yes. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Okay, sorry.
And
Well,
similar to
that's
that,
part
so
of the
just
comparison. Yeah,
backing up
yep,
your computer onto a
yep.
hard drive, which is in your suitcase, and printing out any vital files. And also, I would suggest that you download a hard copy list of your essential personal phone numbers. You know, who am I going to contact in an emergency? If your phone contact list is not working, your phone is dead, you don't have battery, and you want to get somewhere and ask someone to ring your mother or Louisa, do you have her phone number
Mm.
on a piece of paper? Because I don't know about you, but I don't remember my son's phone number.
We don't remember phone numbers anymore, do we necessarily? They're all sort of stored
So if I've lost my phone somewhere, do I have 5 people at least on a piece of paper that I can
Yes.
go up and ask someone to help me
Yeah,
ring
yeah, a pocketbook.
someone?
A
And
pocketbook with
having a
things
little bit of
written in it.
cash out of the bank. You know, I
Yes,
would have, if there's an emergency coming up, if I know in advance, I'd be pulling a month's worth of cash out of my bank,
yep,
because the
month's worth of
ATMs go
cash.
down. Um,
They do.
and
I'd
you've got to
never
pay
seen
for your
that before.
groceries at the
Yep.
multi-banco. And
I'd never seen ATMs out of action until that Apagao last year, here in Portugal.
yeah,
Didn't
I
expect to
think
see
that
that.
was the main stuff kind of. Oh, and think about what you're going to do with your pets. You know,
Yes,
like
yes,
pull
yes.
your pet carriers out or have them already in the car so you can pick up Kitty and throw them straight into the carrier in the car in
Yes,
advance. Like, last thing you want to do is scared cats or dogs in a thunderstorm or whatever,
and
is
not in a
racing
carrier.
around
Can you
trying to
imagine?
catch them.
Yeah, like driving away with your cat loose in the car. It's
Oh,
like don't do that. Dogs might be okay like that, but cats probably not, especially if the vibes are a little jangly. Wow.
Yes.
You can use alternatively have iCloud storage, and the Junta are very good here at checking on people. That's very good to hear. I think that's testament to what Mel was saying about getting to know your community. One of the beautiful moments, Mel, for us was our neighbor. A few days into it, said, "Do you want a feed off our generator?" You chuck over
Yes.
an extension lead, and it's just this gold, isn't it? When you have made a good connection with your community and neighbors, that's the sort of thing that can break out. And there's an extra level of whatever it is, like a barrier, perhaps if you're a foreigner, but make the effort. In those times, it's so important, isn't it, to be useful and to make yourself known and connect. Social capital, I suppose that's what we're talking about, isn't it?
Well, and I talked to some of the Portuguese about this idea of having a list. And unfortunately, because they're all so closely knit, what they said to me was, "It's fine, we checked on people."
Yeah.
And I said, "Did you check on everybody?" And they went, "Well, yeah, it's fine." I said, "No
We
one checked
checked
on
on the
me."
people we know. Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
And
Yeah,
and people did, and I was kind of lying because people did check on me, but there were other foreigners that came to
yes,
check on me.
yeah.
Um, and so I said, "Some people get checked on 10 times." And I said, "By the way, do you know this Portuguese lady over in the corner, da da da?" And he said, "Oh," I said, "'Cause the place is locked up. I don't know whether it's locked up because she's gone away or because."
Oh,
And he
dear, yeah.
said, "Oh, no, I don't know." And I still don't know. I still don't
No, we
know.
don't like her.
Someone thinks, yeah. So
Okay.
hence why I think the list is important. And again, putting something in the cloud is great, but you can't access it if you haven't got the internet and you haven't got electricity and you haven't got or you haven't got your computer.
Yeah,
So yes, you want that as a backup, but if you bought it onto a hard drive, then you can drive to Lisbon where they've got electricity,
yes.
because you might have lost your password, especially if you use a password manager.
Oh,
You may
yes.
not have access to your computer. You may or may not.
Yeah,
So I think having a backup of the most essential things, even if it is your password manager,
yeah.
onto a hard drive is important.
Very good.
And so what I did that the morning of the storm is that I literally, with whether I knew people or not, I walked up and down my street and knocked on the door and said, "Are you okay?" In
Very good.
Portuguese. I said, "Precisa de ajuda." No,
Yeah,
no, no. I say, precisa alguma coisa, bata à porta, knock on my door. Ah,
yes.
mesmo,
Very good.
igualmente, Melinda, igualmente. No, and so I initiated that, and I also said to people that I could converse with a bit more, "Do you have enough water in the house? Have you thought about?" Because most people just went, "Huh?" I said, "Go down to the shop. If you haven't got water in the house, go down now and buy water. Do you want me to go and carry?" If it was older women, I said, "Do you want me to go and collect you some water from the supermarket down the road if I can get it and bring it
Yeah,
back?" You've got bottled water. Fill up your bath with water so that you have water that you can scoop out and wash in. This sort of stuff. So I walked around and said, "Do you have electricity? Do you have a power bank? Do you have water? If you need something, come and knock on my door." I had people who said, "Yeah, my phone's nearly out of battery." I said, "When it is, come and knock on my door. I have a power bank. I can just plug it in for you."
fantastic.
Um, you know, and I think we need to initiate that. And also, like, we don't want to tell neighbors too much about what we have and don't have in the house. But for those we know and trust, I had just got a generator. I hadn't even got around to buying the petrol and oil for it, but I figured someone in this village would have it.
Yes,
And I'd spoken to my neighbour who has an undercover area, and I said to her, "If we get desperate, if this electricity strikes out, let me know, and I'll bring the generator to your house, and we will find some petrol and whatever in the area, and then everybody can quickly plug into this generator, and we'll figure out how to use it on the spot." So it doesn't, like, I can't run the generator in my house because I'll die because I don't have an outdoor area.
yeah, yeah,
But I can take it to a neighbour who does have an outdoor area and say, "Can we run this?" And we can all plug into it.
yes. So you'll need
Um,
the extension leads and distribution blocks for that as well to go with the generator, right?
yeah, yes, exactly. It's worth having a power board or something that you
Yes,
can run off of that.
yeah,
But people just usually want to be able to get their phone charged and a light. So I think and I would suggest, in summary, so I don't drag on too long, if you're not someone who camps off grid, every year, go find a friend who does and just say, if you're going away for a week to an off-grid camping site, what are you taking with you?
That's a good idea.
Make sure you have that. Enough
Yeah.
food, enough water. What are they going to take with them to be camping off grid? What
Or try it.
power
I mean,
bank, lights?
yes, for
It.
some people that's their worst nightmare, but now might be the time to have a weekend like that, or sort of role play it at least to see what you might need in this event. Thanks, Mel. I think this should be a series, frankly, because there's another part to this, I think, which is the and probably the biggest part of it is the psychological, mental preparedness, isn't it? For it's no secret, or we don't hide the fact that we are in these interesting times, to use the Chinese phrase, which I don't think that's an urban myth. Apparently, I don't think the Chinese say "May you live in interesting times" as a curse or whatever. But here we are. We do seem to be living in them, and we are talking about being prepared for them. And the mentality, the psychology, the social aspect of that having the conversations about it at all, I think, albeit sometimes uncomfortable, is really important, and it actually connects very well with the work that Vamos Bem are doing. I mean, their whole community is about aging and dying well in Portugal, which seems like a strange connection perhaps, but their conversation is also about looking at some inevitabilities, and what we're talking about this morning seems to be an inevitability that we were briefed about. It can happen, it might happen more, and it's a really good idea to have the conversations and take the practical action. So I thank you very much for that, and we will continue the conversation at the Portugal Club and the lists. And I was very grateful to you for your suggestions about solar panels and so on. So there's so much more to talk about with this. A few
Can I
comments
just,
then.
may I
Go
just
on.
quickly add to that?
Yeah.
People say, in the future. I've been here, 6, 7 years, whatever it is. In that time, I've gone through COVID. I was down in Oddmira when the big fires come through and threatened coming over the hill to my now ex-partner's house.
Yikes.
We had the Apagao last year. We've had fires in this region and several other regions, and we've had this last week. So that's not unusual, for people to say things like this don't happen in Portugal. Well, that's 4 major events, as well as
You're the common link, Mel. You're the fire horse did it.
The fire horse did it. And what I just want to add to that quickly before we go, because I know we're out of time, is what I've witnessed in every case, probably with the exception of the Apagao, is sheer panic.
Really?
And I was when the fire was coming over, I'm like, as I say, I'm in this mode of get it. I said to someone, and we had all the neighbours kind of come into my ex-partner's house because it was a rural area, and they were down the street, and we said, you got to get out. And there's 2 exits out from here. That's another thing to know, that you need to know where to get 2 exits out of anyway. Get here, we'll all stay together and watch this together and see if we have to run further. They packed up their cars, their kids and whatever, and we're all standing there. But I'm like saying, pack up what you need out of the house. And what I watched is my wonderful ex-partner, who's a lovely, lovely man, completely freak out. He could not think well enough what to pack. And I'm like, what do you really need? He said, I don't know. And I'm going, okay, take a big chill.
Calmer.
Calmer. And making sure in your friendship group, as you can see, I'm animated and fiery, and for sure, in an emergency, I go super calm. Yeah. It's really good to have one of those people that in your neighborhood to just go, okay, even if you don't know everything, we need this person just to go, okay, I may not be the leader of the group in normal circumstance, but right now I'm the person to go, okay, can you go and do this? I'm always the person who's stopping at car accidents going, okay, have you called the police? Can you call the ambulance? Are you okay? Sit still. Can you get me a blanket? This is, you need to know some of those people if you possibly can, because everybody goes into this fight and flight scenarios and freak out, and you need someone just to calm everybody and go, okay, this is what needs to happen, and slow everything down.
Just one other thing, you also need neighbours who dress as sheep at the weekends. Absolutely, we mustn't forget that, must we? On this auspicious occasion, or maybe dressing up as a horse is more appropriate.
Emergencies than I do. Okay. Is he from New Zealand?
Put fire retardant on that. Okay. Our neighbours have been amazing. A few comments before we go, and understandably, an extended version today with the subject matter. And I think we'll talk more about this when you're back again next month, Mel, if we may. Because that's the thing about this, isn't it? You go off the boil with it, and it took this situation for me to do what I said I'd do during the Apagao. I didn't do all the things I agreed I would do with Louisa. But I've done them now, or most of them anyway, and we've definitely turned a big corner with some of the infrastructure we said we'd have. And I'm going to run a show. I'm going to run a show off grid. This is going to be an off grid studio at some point, just to prove that it can be done. Our neighbours have been amazing. Say Queen and Convict. They've lent us cash. Now, this is the other side. I mean, yeah, I hear you. People do panic. That's human nature. But we should say as well, I want to say, the Portuguese are amazing, resourceful, incredibly community-minded folks, and it's taken this awful situation for us to see that again, how awesome the Portuguese community response has been. Politics, mais ou menos as ever, but people with people have been incredible. Look, lending foreigners cash, brought round food and help with charging our lights and phones and tools. We've helped with our skills in return, getting into the spirit of it here. And what a welcome you've had to Portugal. My goodness. We do have a number of absent neighbours whose houses are damaged. We can't seem to get hold of them. And that's what Mel was talking about. If you had that list and where people could check in, then you wouldn't have that to be concerned about. Helen, we used the solar on our camper to keep the freezer running. Yeah, I know people who lost their entire freezer contents. Worth getting the backups for those. It wasn't perfect, but we limped through 4 days, and we've since eaten the contents with no. He's still here to make that message there. That is one thing to do, isn't it? With defrosting food, is to cook it, of course, to extend its life, and lots of other things going on in the chat about Boopy. I think Boopy is about the land boundaries, something to do with the registry. And maybe that'll be one of our Portugal essentials over at the Portugal Club. I'll make a note of that. Vamos Ben, recommend them and their work, and it dovetails very nicely with the conversation we've been having this morning. And another Chinese thing is definitely a Chinese theme this morning. We've got Mel, the fire horse, who's been helping out with us. I mean, how do you intend to use it? Do you think you've been through a period of enforced stabling, and now you're going to run wild for the year ahead, Mel? Is that how you're viewing this?
Look, it's hard to say. I feel that energy very much. I felt that energy before and had it slammed on me. Even the renovations that I did all last year are having to be redone now because of this storm. So that's a bit constraining. But I think that the world is in a very uncertain place, and some of us were more ready for that than others. There was more preparedness around what's been come out now. Some of us knew for 10 and 20 years and have had a bit of time to emotionally adjust to that. And so for me, it's a lot around supporting other people and in an emotional capacity, and just allowing wherever the world takes me. Like I don't have big ties, so I can, if something's needed somewhere else, if things start to get a little bit, they will get more wild than they are right now. And that's a good thing. And the focus for me is, it's always been, we have to let the old system crash so that we can build the new. Unfortunately, the old system crashing hurts a lot. So yes, they're supporting people in that emotionally, but also then going, okay, so what can we do to change this?
Well, that's
how
it.
do we, and there's some incredibly intelligent people who are creating alternate internets, alternate Googles, alternate everything. Even the guy from what's his name, Jack Dorsey, he set up, what is it, bit something. So he's setting up a whole new outside of the fully private everything. I think payment system or something.
Why am I not hearing about this on the news?
I don't know. And there's, as I mentioned to you before, there's a guy in Portugal, a Portuguese man, who has a communication system. Contact, and he worked through the whole thing, so he could contact all of Portugal. We need to get that here. We need, like, it's here, but we need to let people know about it. It's inexpensive. It's under €100 for the whole system, and we could have all been talking to one another, and the Fregziers could have been talking to one another, and the Bombardish and everything else.
Yeah.
So those sorts of things, if I can turn my energy to whichever needs me most, I'm happy to do so
I
because
suspect
there's
you
a lot
will.
to be
I
done.
suspect you will, Mel the fire horse. And the other Chinese thing was, the again, it might be an urban myth, it might be a Western myth about the Chinese. This happens, of course. This sort of mischaracterization, but it's said, isn't it, that the Chinese character for change has threat and opportunity. We've talked quite a lot about the threat, but then in conclusion here, you've been talking a lot about the opportunity as well. And I think there is an
Huge.
incredible opportunity for humanity to dispense with some of these things that haven't been serving us, and we're kind of getting a pretty good clear picture of what they are right now, and what we might hope for could be coming into fruition. What some people have been hoping for, as you say, many years, 50 years, and certainly a ramping up of that in the last 10 or 20. Some of these
And it is here.
ideals.
It's
It is
already
here. Yeah,
here.
absolutely.
We
Yeah, yeah.
just have
Well
to
said.
bring
Well said.
awareness to it. The communication system is already here. The
Yes,
guys
yes.
built it. The
Yeah.
system is here. We just
But it's
need more people
the
to know
adoption,
about it.
implementation, and
There's
awareness.
free
Yes.
energy here.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
There's so many things that are already available.
Yeah.
It's just we just don't know about it.
Quite.
So as people turn to go, we need to change this.
Yes.
This is the opportunity. I wouldn't even say of our lifetime. This is the opportunity of the millennia to go. Let's
That
go. Let's build. Exit and
Vams and
build.
Bora.
Exit and
That
build.
is a great note to end on. After the theme of the chat we've been having, and it's all part of that theme. It is. It has to be. So thanks, Mel. We'll continue the conversation over at the Portugal Club, and when we see you again next on the screen. So have a great year. Great year. It's like a birthday almost, isn't it? Go Firehorse. And all you other fire horses, have a great
And
year.
ironically, I'm like you, Carl. I'm not a great. I love the look of horses, but they kind of scare me. And I was
Yeah, same
raised on a
here.
farm, and I
Yes.
don't.
Yes. Well,
Yeah.
you could embrace the energy, if not the physical animal. Cheers, Mel. Thanks, everybody. We'll see you again tomorrow with actually Raquel and Nuno talking more about societal preparedness with our Portuguese BFFs. Take care, everybody. Take care, and bye for now. Ciao, ciao.
In Portugal, there's a YouTube show full of fun facts